Greetings and namaste. You are now tuned in to 13signsastrology.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. On this particular episode, we're going to talk about the chosen ones. Are you the chosen one? Am I the chosen one? This is what we'll venture into and delve into today. Now, we all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different walks of life. We all come from different religions. And based upon our background, based upon our walk of life, this is what dictates and determines as to how we feel about this whole subject of the chosen ones, or who is the chosen ones, who are the chosen ones. You see, in religion, they teach us that our exclusivity, our ego, our sense of self, all of that is supposed to be centered around our ability to obey God, or our ability to accept a certain religion. And in that, those people that accept this religion become the chosen ones. This is how it goes in religion. So for instance, you're a Christian, and those people that are crystallized in the light of Christ, or in the faith of Christ, or saved, those people become the chosen ones. Or you have people that believe in this concept based upon a tribal custom. You may be born into a certain tribe, or you may be born a Jew or Hebrew. And now since you're born a Jew or Hebrew or something of that nature, now you become what's called the chosen one, or the one, or essentially the group that's chosen, the elect, the elite. You see, this concept of the chosen ones and exclusivity and things of that nature, this concept comes from religion, and it's very new. You see, it was never a time in ancient culture where the ancients believed that there was going to be a particular group that was spared or saved, and the rest, and all other tribes and all other groups will be damned to hell. See, it was never a time where the ancients believed that. Only in the advent of religion, and since religion has came about, have humanity started to believe in this exclusivity, in this form of being the elite or the chosen of God. You see, this is something new. And though the concept of being chosen has validity and is rooted in truth, just like everything else, it's been diluted, it's been tampered with. The concept of the chosen ones, when you look at it from a religious standpoint, it goes into a person that is a part of the 144,000, an individual that is a part of the 144,000. You see, in the Bible, in the book of Revelations, this is where most of us get this concept of the chosen ones from. It comes from those particular saints. This is what we believe, those particular saints that will be spared on Tribulation Day. And these become your chosen ones. Not knowing that the number 144,000 was chosen for a reason, and that number was used long before there was a book of Revelations. Long before there was a book of Revelations, you had the concept of the end times, or what you would call the apocalypse. And the stories in the book of Revelations were borrowed from older stories from the ancients. And they talked about the end times and the apocalypse and the chosen ones. But they talked about it from a perspective that's a lot more interesting and a lot less egotistical. You see, just because you claim to be a Christian does not mean that you're one of the chosen ones. Just because you are some black person with melanated skin doesn't mean you're the chosen ones, or the chosen one. Just because you're a Jew doesn't mean you're the chosen one. Just because you have blue eyes, that doesn't mean you're the chosen one. Just because your hair is kinkly, you have a crown, doesn't mean you're the chosen one. Just because you got these dreadlocks in your head, that doesn't make you the chosen one. And I know a lot of things that I'm saying right now may sound mundane, and people are like, well, that's common sense, Rumble. So we know that, but you don't know that. You know why I know you don't know that? Because I read these people's emails. And I read how people, just because they had a certain dream or something like that, now all of a sudden you're the chosen one because you had this dream. Or just because you wear your hair like this and you look different from everybody else, that makes you the chosen one. You see, the chosen one, the concept of the 144,000, let me go into that. I'm going to go into the concept of the 144,000, and then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to explain what the chosen ones or the chosen one would be in the occult and help you to understand that. The concept of the 144,000 goes back to the numbers themselves. Got to look at the numbers. And 144,000 is a coded number representing 12,000 different groups, representing 12,000 different groups, that each of these particular groups were raised up or are to be raised up by one ascended master. So when you get the concept of the 144,000, you're dealing with 12,000 groups, different groups of people, 12,000 different tribes that are raised up by one particular ascended master. And these 12,000 species or individuals or people have to go through various initiations based upon the constellations, based upon the sun as it travels through the constellations. So when you get the concept of the 144,000, what you have to understand is that in the mystery schools back in the day, they taught that there were 12 signs of the zodiac, though they knew there were 13. But you have to have an understanding in order to learn that. They knew about the 13th sign. Don't get it twisted. Because I know a lot of people out here are still trying to argue, still wanting to fight. You're just like those people that feel like the earth was flat, and they was willing to kill those people that was going around teaching that the earth was round. Those people that believed the earth was flat were so tied into that politically. They were so tied into that belief that they were willing to kill those people that were teaching something different. And it's no different with this astrology thing. So you have the concept, a lot of people believe there are 12 signs, and that was taught because 12 is the number, one of the numbers of the earth. 12 is an earth measure number. A lot of people say 12 is the number of kingship. 12 represents power and kingship from an earthly perspective. You see, but 13 is the code that the universe was literally structured up under. But see, most people don't know about the hidden sign or the 13 different informational systems. You see, going into sacred geometry now. So 13 is the secret number, but for a time, man was put up under the number 12. And man had to master these different parts of himself, called the 12 signs of the zodiac, and woman had to master these different parts of themselves, called the 12 signs of the zodiac. So the ancients, when they taught astrology, they taught that you had to go through all the different signs of the zodiac. You had to become a master of all the different signs of the zodiac. If you were to become the chosen one or the initiate, if you wanted to be the one, if you wanted to make it to the other side, you were to master all the signs of the zodiac, meaning that you had to go through various different schools in order to get to that point. And sacred geometry and astrology, the application of astrology, which is sacred geometry and metaphysics, all of that really is just the application of astrology. That was taught lastly. Once man went through all of these different initiations, then he was taught the secrets and the mysteries in the 13th sign, which is actually up under Pisces when you count. Pisces will be the 13th sign. And this is why Pisces is the sign of the secrets. And this is why Pisces, people that are born up under Pisces in the 13th sign system, people that are born up under that seem to always know. everything, even though they don't always believe in what they know. That's past the point. They seem to always have an inherent understanding. This is because Pisces is the last sign, and Pisces held all the mysteries. So when you went through the mysteries of Pisces, when you were getting initiated, that's when they taught you how to apply astrology, how to use sacred geometry, it's a 13th sign, things of that nature. Before that, the initiates were only taught up under the number 12. And what you have to remember is that if you weren't getting initiated into an order or getting initiated into some type of a group or being raised up by an ascended master to become one of the chosen ones, you weren't taught nothing about astrology. You didn't know about any signs. You didn't know what the stars meant. They just looked like good decorations to you. You see, so these are the things that people must understand. Like, you take for granted the fact that you know about astrology now, and you think you know about astrology now. You take that for granted because a lot of humans have an understanding of what their zodiac sign is or isn't. See, there was a time on this planet where only the kings were granted that type of information as to know which star they were born up under and to learn about their destiny and their fate. See, it was a time when only the kings could learn that. And that's something very important here. So I'm saying all that to say that the concept of the chosen one back in the day was based upon that particular group of people that went through various initiations, and once all of those initiations were complete and done, they have to go through tests, the final test, to decide as to whether or not they were and are the chosen ones. They have to go through a final test and a final initiation. And this final test and this final initiation is based upon surviving events that will take place in 3D from the fourth dimensional realm. So what I mean by that is that being blindfolded and walking through a pit of crocodiles is an example of mastering a fourth dimensional initiation or a third dimensional initiation from the fourth dimension. Because what you have to do, beloved, if you are to survive that type of initiation, is you have to begin and learn how to see with your third eye, with your inner self. And when you learn how to see with your third eye and with your inner self, you will know how to maneuver through the crocodile pit. But those particular people that didn't survive or didn't have their third eyes activated, once they went through all the initiations and all the tests and all the practices of the different signs, if their third eyes weren't truly activated, they would die during that test. So you were tested with your life. So if you want to know whether or not you are the chosen one, it's based upon an initiation into something. And did you survive? See, your being born a certain race alone is not going to make you the chosen ones. Accepting a certain religion while you're in this physical body and in this incarnation does not make you the chosen one. Reading a book does not make you the chosen one. You see, getting a nice car and driving around in a Range Rover, that doesn't make you a chosen one. Getting tatted up and painted up, that doesn't make you a chosen one. Just because you can smoke weed more so than other people and better than other people doesn't make you the chosen one. See, where I'm getting at, beloved, I know people are like, why are you going through all these examples of what doesn't make you the chosen one? And where I'm getting at, beloved, is that your concept of this whole chosen one, for one thing, is based upon the ego most of the times. And that's why if you were really put into a test and an initiation to really become one of the chosen ones in the occult, you would fail before you even got into the test. They would never even choose you to go through the initiation. You wouldn't even be the person that would be chosen to go through the initiation because of your thinking. Because you're thinking of being a chosen one based upon your ego. This is how we think of it. We all do it. We all do it. In the beginning, when we're not properly educated. But over time, you'll learn, once you get over your ego. See, this is the story of Cain and Abel. That goes into the chosen one. I know I'm jumping around here, but let me explain to you. You see, when you get into the story of Cain and Abel, this is a prime example of understanding the chosen one. Because Cain just wasn't jealous of Abel and just didn't kill his brother. You know what I'm saying? Because, for the fuck of it. That's what I'm saying. Cain loved his brother dearly. He didn't kill his brother for the fuck of it. See, they don't tell you the whole story because you didn't read the sacred text, the Apocrypha. You didn't read the hidden text. You guys need to research the Apocrypha when you get time, because these are the texts that they took out of the Bible. And a lot of times people understand the Bible because these texts weren't in the Bible. This is the stuff that they don't tell you. And Cain and Abel, the whole story is based upon an initiation into a certain order. Some people say the order of Melchizedek. And Abel was trying to get initiated into the order, and Cain was trying to get initiated into the order of Melchizedek. And their father had to let them go and sign over his parental rights, which was Adam and Eve, had to sign over their parental rights and give them over to this order. And they went through a series of tests and initiations. So the reason why Cain got to the point and was able to even want to kill his brother was because of the fact that he went through so much to get into this order, and he still wasn't chosen. Once his offering, he went through all these tests, all these initiations. Just imagine, spent all these years, made his offering to God, which was really the ascended master that I was telling you about. So you have 12,000 groups. And I know I'm jumping around, but we'll bring it all together. So you have 12,000 different groups. When you study the concept of 144,000, and each of those groups is raised up by an ascended master, because it has to be 13. That's the number of the universe. So even though you have 12,000 groups, each of those groups was led by one particular ascended master. So Cain and Abel represented a particular group, or particular two types of people trying to be initiated up under one particular ascended master, or one God. This is where you get the concept of God. The concept of God is the leader of the order. This is the master. This is the worshipful master. This is basically the point man, the black dot, that particular person that drew the circle, so only he or she knows where it begins or ends. See, that's the God. And what happened is that Cain and Abel were trying to get initiated up under this particular ascended master, which you would call God. So they went through a series of tests to get into this order. And eventually Cain fails, and that's why his anger drove him to kill his brother. His jealousy, because he wanted to be the chosen one, drove him to kill his brother. He didn't want to wait till next year and try out again. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to be the chosen one this time. He wanted to be the point man in this life. But his third, obviously, he wasn't able to pass the initiation and pass the test. Something went wrong in his offering. See, now let's talk about, and then I'm going to shut this video down. Now let's talk about what would determine as to whether or not a person would be the chosen one. What is the chosen one? It's like in the book of the occult, not in Ram Hotep's book, but in the book of the occult, what would determine as to whether or not a person is chosen one? You see, a lot of people, they want to be chosen. You know, they really just want their ego stroked. They really just want to get on YouTube and have a bunch of numbers. You see, just because you got 50,000 followers on YouTube, that doesn't make you the chosen one. Because if you can't pass what I'm about to talk about, these series of initiations, if you can't go through that, if you can't do certain things and see certain things, you're not the chosen ones. You're not. I don't care how many followers you have on YouTube. That's a facade and an image. You're not the chosen one. And this goes for anybody. I'm not talking about nobody, so don't try to say Ram Hotep is targeting somebody he's talking about. I'm not talking about nobody. I'm just using that for an example because people see my channel on YouTube and they're like, oh, you got all these followers, that don't mean shit. For real, when it comes to the occult, that don't mean shit. It's all about your ability to pass these tests and these initiations, and will you survive? You see, the chosen one was that particular sperm that made it. Had enough information, knew enough about the mysteries to make it. Will you survive? That's what it comes down to. So, what is the chosen ones? What would determine as to whether or not somebody mastered the different signs of the zodiac and became the chosen ones? Have you mastered Aquarius? Are you a knower? Are you radical when the time suits itself to be? Constructively radical. See, this is what Aquarius is supposed to be. You have Aquariuses that are radical, but a lot of them are destructively radical. You see, those particular brothers that were in the Black Panther Party, you had a lot of Aquariuses in that Black Panther Party. I've studied it. I've studied their signs. And this is why they were very radical. Very smart and intelligent, knew a lot about the law, but very radical. And a lot of them were destructively radical, not constructively. They want to go take away from people and kill people. This is being destructively radical. But being radical is a part of nature. And those people that want to just fit into a mold and fit into a box, and they can't they can't get radical when the situation calls for you to be radical, and you can't demonstrate that attribute, you would fail that initiation of Aquarius. Or say, for instance, the initiation of Virgo. The initiation of Virgo. Virgo is analytical. Virgo is very analytical and likes to dissect things. But Virgo can get stuck because Virgo can be so analytical that they never make a decision. So the test of Virgo is that when you go through the test of Virgo, will you analyze situations? How good or bad do you analyze situations? And do you get stuck in your analysis? Once you make a decision, are you emotionally tied to your decision? Is your ego tied into your decision? Let's jump to going through and mastering the Fucus. The Fucus. The spirit of the zodiac. And you have some people that can be too spiritual. What does that mean? This means these are your people that are so spiritual that they deny the physical. And they're so deep in spirituality and metaphysics and the unseen world and ether and all of these things, these concepts, that they deny the physical. You see, you wouldn't make your initiation into a certain order, because in this particular order, you would have to demonstrate the attributes of a Fucus, which is spiritual, and the spiritual attributes, but still demonstrate and show that you have a grasp over how to make these attributes become physical and how to manifest these attributes in the physical realm and arena, and how how constructive and how organized, your ability to be able to organize spiritual principles and bring them down into the physical. So you would get judged by this if you were to get initiated into a certain order. The sign of Aries. I am. You see, the sign of Aries is the lesson of Aries is dealing with the self. You see, there's a situation where you can be constructively selfish or destructively selfish. And Aries deals with the self. So some people, they deny their self totally. My whole life is for my kids. It's all about my kids and my wife. That's what life is about for me. You wouldn't make it into that order with that type of thinking. But then on the other hand, you wouldn't make it into the order where you're like, I don't want no kids, because I'd rather spend all my money on cars and going out on dates with girls and doing all of this stuff. You see, you still wouldn't make it into that order with that thinking, because Aries represents yourself and mastering that, the ego, and mastering that. So when you were to get initiated into the order, the first sign you would go through is Aries. Because the self, this is how Aries became the #1 sign. By the way, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. This happened because this is the sign of the self. And this is, if you can't even go to number 2, 3, or 4 until you first master yourself. This is why in the Walls of Kemet it says, know thyself. That's actually Aries, believe it or not. That's really Aries energy, all of that, when you talk about know thyself. See, the Egyptians knew astrology. They knew astrology so good that they could teach it without ever saying Aries, Fucus, Sagittarius. See, they didn't teach it like that. But the whole concept of the Egyptian mystery system is an astrologically based doctrine. So you say you're the chosen one, but you can't master these attributes. I get these people, they're like, oh yeah, man, I want to get initiated into the occult and get into occult order. And I want to like start working with these entities that you talk about, Ram Hotep. I want to do these things, but I can't really stop eating meat. And I only stopped eating pork like a month ago. But I want to do this though. But I can't stop eating meat. I'm weak. You don't want to do it. Don't even tell yourself that. You don't need to tell yourself that you don't want to do it, because if you can't, see, you can't even get initiated into a lot of this stuff. None of this stuff needs to even be talked about. You're not chosen anything eating meat. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a personality and got 1,000,000 followers. If you still eat meat, you're not the chosen of anything. Nobody's choosing you for jack dilly shit when it comes to occult and spirituality. That's what I'm talking about. You're not ever going to meet any aliens. You're not ever going to meet any Andromedans. And if you do, they're going to meet you just to manipulate you. You're not going to meet them on an equal playing field where you have a choice, because you can't even control yourself. They don't respect you. No being or species respects another being or species that doesn't respect themselves. That's just nature. That's natural. So what would a chosen person look like and see and do? See, a chosen person is the concept of Neo. Neo represented the one. Are you the one? He represented the chosen one that went through the different initiations and tests to get to the point where he could see, but he was blind, where he could fight entities without having physical eyes. You see, the chosen one knows when somebody's going to attack you before it happens. And the chosen one has to go through initiations to activate those senses. The chosen one is able to transform their flesh into exotic matter. You see, the chosen ones are able to see the lights, the higher lights, the lights and the rays that we can't see. The chosen ones are able to, they're in tune with their ancestors, and they hear the voice of their ancestors clearly. And they follow it. And they don't question and doubt, and they're not confused. You see, confusion is negative karma, and even in being confused. Being spiritually confused. You have a lot of spiritually confused people out here. You go to church one day and you pray to Jesus, and the next day you're reading books on metaphysics, and they're telling you Jesus didn't exist, and you don't know what the hell to believe. And the reason why is because you're not serious with yourself. Are you the chosen one? It starts with yourself. So after watching this video, if you want to be one of the chosen ones, you want to be a part of the 144,000, the elite, the elect, what I want you to do is to choose a habit, something that you love, something that you hold dearly to you. And I want you to release it. I want you to give it up. Or go without it. Abstain. Whatever, it could be anything. Something you love, anything. Because you're never going to be the chosen of anything if you don't have discipline. You're never going to get initiated into any real orders. I'm not talking about orders where you just pay some money and move up. Because you got this stuff or whatever, these people, they pay this money or whatever to move up in these orders, and they call that the chosen one. See, money ain't going to make you no chosen one. That's what people fail to realize. See, the chosen one is so cold, knows his or herself so much, that you can start them out with $1 million, they'll lose all of it, but they got so much knowledge in their head, you can put them in another part of the world and they'll get that million back. See, that's the chosen one. Or her. Him or her. That's the chosen person, or the chosen being. It's someone that knows their self so much and knows what they're capable of and knows how to work with their inner self so much that you could put them somewhere naked and they will get back their vast estate, their kingdom, or their powers, whatever they are. They will get right back to who they were, no matter what situation you put them in. See, that's the chosen one. So do you know yourself like that? Are you disciplining yourself like that? Do you identify? Do you even know yourself to the point where you know who you are as a self? Or do you identify with your friends and who they are? You're never going to be the chosen one with friends. I know you're like, that's crazy, Rhyme Hotel. Even in astrology, they got a house of friends, the friendship house. That's the 11th house, right? See, that's all. I know you're going all out now. You don't even know what you're teaching no more. You're just confused. I like having fun up here, but nah, seriously though, we talking about. I'm not being extreme with this. I'm not saying cut off your friends forever. You're never going to ever have any friends. We're talking about, do you want to make your initiation? Of course, once you get to the point you become the one, the chosen one, then you go back out and you have to learn how to live like normal people as the one, though. You have to learn how to live like an immortal as the one. You have to become a child of the light as the one, though, as the chosen one. You have to become, you live as the indigo child that you once were, but now you're the chosen one, though. You've been chosen and selected. So you have a different type of responsibility. You hear things differently than most people hear them. And you're accountable for the way that you hear them. See, that's what determines as to whether or not you're a chosen one. It's how you go about interpreting this reality. I hope you learned something from this video. And until my next video, I'll leave you with peace, love, light, and prosperity.